Fun fact, did you know that Koei Tecmo's Romance of the Three Kingdoms series is actually mislabeled? The Japanese name Sangokushi refers to the historical document Records of the Three Kingdoms, which is the document that the historical fiction novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms is based on. How this has never been corrected in the over 30 years this grand strategy series has technically been available in English is unknown to me, but we're not stopping anytime soon, and in fact this latest title, a remake of Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8, is the first time the series has had a simultaneous release in English and Japanese. And if you know of this series exclusively because it's connected to the Dynasty Warriors hack-and-slash-action series, well, you're in for a hell of a treat. Well, not really.
ありがとうございます。報告します。
Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake stars, well, the Han Dynasty of China as a whole. This is a spreadsheet heavy game, which will put you in the role of someone of your choosing, possibly with the role within someone else's forces. Sounds vague? Yes! The goal is for your forces to take over all of China, or at least to just live until the end. Best of luck! There are many ways to try and accomplish this. The first thing you can do is hone your strongholds. Each town has 5 stats: development for farming and food, commerce for generating revenue, science for honing your battle tactics, defense to protect your city from invading factions and rogues, and public order, which impacts the strength at which you can grow your soldiers. Every month you have an amount of action points you can use to enhance these stats, or you can examine them to increase the rate at which they grow. Along the way, you can boost your friendship with units performing actions in your vicinity, which can lead to positive multipliers in any situation you're with them in. Building up a healthy and powerful squad with high morale is tantamount to success, as it will make potential allies more likely to join you, keep you safe from being a target from forces in the early game, or allow you to conquer new locations. But will you? Every 3 months, Parliament gathers and the leader consults their tacticians and forces before deciding upon which military strategies to pursue. Marching on foes is an option, but so is bartering with them, forging alliances, or using subterfuge to sabotage other forces. The more military prowess you have, the more actions you can take. But here's where things get really funky though. I mentioned earlier that the player is someone of your choosing. Actually have to be the one in charge. You can be a random officer from any of the literal hundreds of documented figures from the era and have to deal with what your lord does. Just a simple farmer who's out there minding their own business when the war happens, who was then conscripted into battle? A merchant? A wandering sellsword recruited? You can go steps further with the level of roleplay room here. You can make a character and insert them into this historical fiction. The long-lost daughter of famed tactician Xu Liang, or the warlord poet Cao Cao, suddenly appearing to contradict another lord's political decisions, rising in the ranks, dramatically meeting their father on the field of battle, entirely possible within this game's mechanical sphere. And that's because debating a decision via a stat-based minigame is a mechanic. When you need to bring the verbal smackdown and prove yourself right, you can have a discussion. You both select matching numbered cards to create attacks that demoralize your opponent. Whoever hits the biggest numbers will deal damage based on their intelligence stat, reducing their health eventually to 0. If you manage a win, you will have to be listened to, allowing you to make a dramatic entrance during Parliament. A similarly used mechanic is dueling. This minigame plays exactly the same as discussion, but runs off the strength stat. This is used for side quest lines or can be triggered in combat against the leader, among other situations. Both minigames play the same, but their unique animations means their use gives emergent plot beats more dramatic oomph and flavor.
モテる全力でお会い。ここが戦の決めどころじゃな。戦うのみ。急げ。続け。
律動を感じよ。速やかに。逃すこと。おお、心地よき見せてやる。続け。
Going back a bit, I mentioned combat as a separate thing to dueling. This game's main gameplay outside our spreadsheet management is a grid-based combat system similar to, say, Fire Emblem. If you're attacked by enemy forces or decide to march upon foes, you'll enter a grid-based combat mode. This mode takes place on a hexagonal grid and is where all the fruits of that soldier training lay bare. Having buffed their stats and giving them access to various skills through your research and development, you can now put together an army to slaughter your foes. Or you can just try and hope you get to stick around because your lord has thrown you onto the front lines. Good luck! These maps can be anything from flat plains to mountainous regions, and you're able to throw in gimmicks to shake up combat further in the form of creating sandstorm smoke screens or setting fires to throw enemy units into disarray. Even a loss can end up narratively satisfying if you're just trying to play as a guy who wants to get out in one piece. If you're a bit confused about where to start within playing these modes, the game does have a comprehensive tutorial. It also has 8 different recommended campaigns, selecting a person who is in a role that allows the player to learn the ins and outs of what the game has to offer. What really sells these campaigns though is that they all put you close to the historical side quests. These are all story sequences connected to either the events of the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms or various interpretations from the original records of the Three Kingdoms. By following them, you can lead yourself to its inevitable conclusion, but there are also sequences planned out for various divergences to make your decisions feel all the more weighty. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake is most certainly a grand strategy game in more ways than one. If you enjoy one campaign and starting another, it'll get out of hand really fast. It'll be an enthralling experience for a while. Noisy Pixel is giving Romance of the 8 Kingdoms 8 Remake an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group dedicated to bringing you guys the best news reviews, previews, and more. Please stick around by subscribing or signing up to our Patreon to stay updated of our best content. Wait, if you're subscribing and ringing the bell, that's getting a notification for all of our content, which means that all of our content is our best content. See, I'm a genius.
Noisy Pixel.